All right. Folks, welcome to the Philadelphia Squid Research Lab. Here at the laboratory in Splatboro, Pennsylvania. I'm Stu, the announcer. Welcome to our Splatoon 4v4 tournament. Now, usually this is the home of Philadelphia area Smash Brothers, but we have a Switch Meetup every fourth Saturday of the month, and it's right here at the laboratory. So if you want to come on by, by all means do so, but we're going to be rocking out here, and we hope that you join us. We hope that you enjoy us here at twitch.tv/bros_calamity. Just a quick reminder, hey, if you want to be updated on all the things that are happening here, we have a Melee tournament on Tuesdays. We have Smash 4 on Fridays. In fact, next Saturday, not just 7 days from now, we're going to be holding Brotherly Love The End, one of the biggest Smash 4 tournaments of the year in the Philadelphia area, and it's going to be going down right here on twitch.tv/bros_calamity. You're going to want to keep up with it, so you better follow us on social media. Hit us up, The Laboratory, on Facebook. Hit us up on Twitter at bros_calamity. Hit us up on Instagram as well. That's all. That's the whole schedule that we've got going on. Melee and Smash 64 on Tuesdays. Have an FGC meetup on. It was just 2 days ago. In fact, Dragon Ball Fighter, Street Fighter. I love watching DBFZ. And yeah, Fridays got Super We Bear Bears on our 141st edition coming up, I believe it is. So it's ridiculous what's going on here at the laboratory. It's a gaming hub and it's a community, and we want you to be part of it. So follow us on Facebook at The Gaming Lab, on Twitter and YouTube, and obviously you have us on Twitch at bros_calamity on Twitter, bros calamity on YouTube, and yeah, hit us up on Instagram. Send us your pictures, man. The Gaming Lab _. You're definitely gonna want to be part of this community. What's up?
Get up on Discord too. Got a whole bunch of people on there trying to start a little community of Philly and like tri-state region players.
Oh, definitely hit us up on Discord too. It's just I'm not pronouncing all that. That's a jumbled up thing of letters, man. You expect me to pronounce that? You don't pay me nearly enough, Moosh. I'm sorry. But, folks, joining me is one of the captains of these teams here. I believe you're the captain of Sweet Potatoes. Is that right?
Yes, that is correct.
Sweet it's potatoes. The one, the only Raptura. Raptura, it's good to have
How's
you
it
with
going?
us. Now, it's I should say, I owe it to you to maintain my journalistic integrity to say that I am a biased party in this. I am a member of Pixely's team, the Good GGs.
Yep. And we're going to play against you next round, actually. So.
I believe so,
yep.
Yeah. No, but, first of all, best of luck to you. Luck is for losers. You probably don't need it. But regardless.
Good luck to you, too.
Hey, thank you very much. But regardless of that, you're known to play quite a variety of weapons. We saw you playing the sloshing machine. I think the dually squelchers a little bit before that. Doing very well. Rocking out on that Splatfest. Pretty much winning with you every single time. Like you and Pixely, obviously. But, how long have you been playing the game?
I dropped another game, Yu-Gi-Oh!, to play Splatoon competitively and full-time in October.
Oh, no way.
And I am now the captain of another team called Depth for Squids, and we went to Smash and Splash 4 in Wisconsin, maybe, 2 weeks ago? And
it was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, no, we had a couple guys out there, BDB among them, yeah.
Yeah, and we got second place in the bronze bracket, so that was a good time, especially for our first LAN ever. So
absolutely. You kidding me? No, and it's the thing is that that's the sort of chemistry that takes a lot of time to build up, but at the same time, it's pretty amazing, the fact that you can just kind of I don't know if I'm trying to do the controls at the same time.
I don't know if this.
That's the sort of chemistry that takes a lot of time to build up, and when you're just kind of meeting people for the first time and you're trying to get them together, you really only have maybe 20 minutes to figure out each other's strengths and weaknesses, like relatively little warm-up time. How do you cope with that, especially as the captain of a team?
Well, typically what I do is I try to play to each other's strengths. I ask my team what weapons they play, what kind of play style they play, if they play front line, back line, or if they play like a role like mine where I just play like sort of a flex. And I try to adapt to their play styles. And then in callouts, just trying to make sure that you don't use callouts that people don't understand. Like, let's say some players don't understand that in Mako Mart, you'll have callouts like breakfast and melons and freezer and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So instead of saying that, you say more stuff like left or right aisle, the left or right box, stuff like that, the ramp. Trying to be as specific as possible, but not as
you got to get the point across quickly.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And, you're absolutely right, because we do get a mix of players from casual to competitive, and it's pretty ridiculous, the sort of melting pot that we've created here at the laboratory. But right now we're getting ready for our first match here at the laboratory at Splatboro. It is stick controls being led by defending champion Muddy, who was our champion last Splatboro meetup.
Yeah, I heard that he was top 100 in Splat zones last week. So
exactly, and we got going up against him, Boing and ZL is the team. Captained by Boing, the box is locked, the lights are on. It's Splatoon fighting time. Welcome to Splatboro.
This is Tower Control Black Valley Skate Park. We have a
Tensitech Splatter Shot, Aerospray MG, a Jet Squelcher, and an NZAP 89 on stick controls. ZL, who needs to defend the tower going any further. Rapid Blaster Pro. Wow, they are wiping a complete team wipe. A complete team wipe by ZL, who are using a Rapid Blaster Pro, a Slosher, a Splooshomatic, and a Splashomatic. A very close range set here, Raptura.
Let's see, and we have the Neo Splash doing a 1v1 against the T-Tech.
They take the tower back, but the damage has been done. 35 units.
Wait
a second, they took it right back.
Shooter doing work on the tower.
Trying to control things at the same time. It's a bit tough, folks. That Aerospray is going to have to do some work.
Well.
The Rapid Blaster Pro looking to neutralize it. Does not succeed, and it will get on the tower.
See, now, normally you see more of a like a Slosher Deco instead of the typical Slosher. So it's good to see missiles and those kind of specials being represented here at this event.
There is Team Captain Muddy doing work with that Tensitech Splatter Shot, a very, very viable weapon and almost dominant in the meta in the Western world.
T-Tech will always be relevant along with Rapid Blaster in this game, no matter what they do to the weapon.
So explain for the newbies at home. I mean, there are 2 Splatter Shots, but what makes the Tensitech so much more viable than, say, Vanilla?
So the Tensitech has the Inkjet, and the Inkjet, yes, it has been nerfed since the beginning of the game, along with the Tensitech and other weapons that have it, but it is one of those specials that can rack up kills quickly and keep pressure, as you see Muddy doing right now in the half pipe here.
Absolutely, already confirming the kill with that Tensitech. And another splat right off the jump. They do take the tower, but the damage has been done. They have taken the lead, and all of a sudden, the ball very much in ZL's court. How will they respond?
Don't know. Let's see how they respond by going to the tower.
Oh, T-Turtle with that Jet Squelcher was not careful and wound up getting caught.
Gotta watch out for that sploosh when you're around the tower. Has no range, but a lot of damage. So.
Suction Bomb's a very useful weapon to have, especially in tower control. You just stick that right on, and basically you got to clear the club.
Muddy again, that's their star player on their team. Wait, so hopefully they can get a lead change here. But they're too pushed up. They need to get back on the tower. That Jet Squelcher putting in work, jumping back on the tower, using a splashdown.
T-Turtle exacting his revenge on that Splooshomatic. They just need
3 more points, and they're jumping in, but they're not really getting any points.
They're not going to get. Wait, they did take the lead back, but oh no, they did not. No, they were that close though.
Yeah,
My goodness,
very close. 3 points. I mean, there's still 2 minutes on the clock.
They were moving it along. They are quite persistent, but nonetheless, they are not quite there yet. Muddy Jr. He's going to have some work to do.
Mid, going with the T-Tech. Pushing into their zone now.
He's going to have some work to do with making sure that zone is not that zone. That tower is well defended. He does have help though, but that close range weapon. It's interesting to see people use the Aerospray like this, just kind of spreading out the area a little bit.
Right. And I know you don't see too many. You don't see any Aerosprays really in the top play, but. At least here at this local, the Aerospray can do some work on the tower, similar to the Splashomatic.
And the lead is only being extended. That NZAP in spawn. He gets himself a triple
kill,
and that is going to be the KO. And all of a sudden, a 1-0 lead for stick controls.
In the first set of tower control.
That was ridiculous.
The first game of tower control, sorry.
Raptura, obviously we saw a lot of people putting in a lot of work. Tell us what you saw.
I saw a lot of good plays from Muddy with that inkjet. Those 2 inkjets that he used, put in the work. I saw him getting a double as soon as he used it. I mean, Muddy is the captain of their team, and like I said, he was top 100 in Splat Zones this last couple weeks with, I don't know what weapon he used in Splat Zones, but next rank.
As well as a defending 4v4 champion here,
Exactly.
Here at Splatboro. But, I mean, and we saw in the statistics again, I mean, it was, we saw in the statistics Boing getting 15 splats with that Rapid Blaster Pro, and he was getting support. They pushed in quite far, but ultimately just not enough. He did some work with that Rapid Blaster Pro, though, which, again, another weapon that is almost starting to dominate the meta just more and more, especially in the last patch.
Definitely, definitely. Now we have Camp Triggerfish tower control here. I'm expecting to see more of a backline sort of comp from at least one of the teams, something more of a Rapid Blaster or a Sloshing Machine, something in order to defend that tower. I know we saw Jet Sculpture in the last game. That's pretty good. Charger's pretty good for this map as well, just staying on the wall and defending that tower. As it's going from your side to their side over the water. This map definitely advocates for range. You definitely need range. You can't really play Aerospray or Splooshare and expect it to fly.
True. And it's definitely strange because it's one of those maps where you can't be so secure just hopping off the tower and letting it reset. You do have to conserve your specials, that's for sure. But if you're hopping off into that water, well, it's back to spawn and no special for you. It's going to be interesting to see how this shakes out. Stick Controls with a 1-0 lead. They are going to ride the tower at Camp Triggerfish. ZL is looking for their revenge.
I see we got that Range Blaster here and a Rapid Blaster Pro Deco from the other team.
You're absolutely right. Excellently called. A Range Blaster, a Splat Roller, the Splat Dualies, and the NZAP 89.
Yeah.
And then that's countered by a Rapid Blaster Pro Deco. A Slosher, a Splattershot Pro Forge, the Forge, and the Splashomatic, which immediately got taken out. But it's interesting to see the Splat Dualies as opposed to the end parries, which we saw GG Boys dominate with. They, in fact, won the World Championships.
Right. I think it's actually pretty interesting to see the regular dualies too, as you said, because they have the Tenna Missile special, and I feel like Tenna Missiles is actually pretty good on this map, on tower control, because if you have those Tenna Missiles and you're pointing at the tower to defend, the enemy team has no choice but to jump off or
look at that.
Die.
Big Staz doing work with that Splat Roller. Immediately saw, and they're covering all angles here. T-Turtle with that hang on. They're starting to pick them off, but that's bound to happen as they go towards closer towards the zone. But obviously the damage done. Only 24 counts remaining for stick controls.
I'm surprised we haven't seen one of their comps using the Stingray special on tower control yet. Stingray,
Very true.
Stingray has always been pretty relevant in tower control, just to defend off the tower as well as assist in pushes of the tower in tight spots for maps like Walleye.
The missiles do get one person, but the damage is indeed done. Boing, again, the captain of ZL, trying to push his team towards victory. They will have to first get a reset. Got a direct hit, but not quite enough to get the kill on Muddy Jr., who, again, using that range blaster, which, again, a nightmare in tower control, but Boing, again, with that Pro Deco. My goodness, that weapon has been...
That's
oh, my gosh, and he gets himself a triple, ostensibly. That ought to help with the push, but, I mean... What does the rest of the team need to do in order to support such a performance?
I feel like they just need to build their specials and try to push them back, push the other team back so they don't have their specials. I know they have a Forge on their team, and those bubbles will be able to defend the tower and get them off the tower, especially over the water there.
And you saw that the Muddy Jr. throwing those suction bombs. I could just say Muddy. I don't know why I say Muddy Jr. I'm a very visually oriented person, folks. But those suction bombs, my goodness, Muddy, with no regards for human life.
That's down on the side of ZL.
An absolute clearance, and that is not going to help. The clock is not on ZL's side, and Muddy Jr. and his team, all they have to do is push forward and take control of this match. And the range blaster again.
But there's still 2 minutes left, so this is still anyone's game. ZL just needs to be able to push back. It seems like they're not being able to do that, though.
Muddy Jr.
Getting that quad there.
Getting that double and making sure that Boing is taken out. They're past the third checkpoint, and that is going to be another knockout victory.
And
my
that's
goodness.
The set.
That is the set, and that's a 2-0 victory for stick controls. My goodness. Now, What we saw there was excellent range blaster play, but also it's Muddy Jr. not being a coward, but not afraid to give himself that space to operate with the range blaster, still getting those direct hits, but still not missing his shots either.
Exactly. And range blaster is a really difficult weapon to pick up and play. It's a lot harder to play than the typical blaster and rapid variants as well.
That's true. No, I mean, I think the first time that I picked it up, I was basically just a conga line of death, more or less, is how I would describe it. But you're absolutely right. It's definitely a weapon that requires a lot of skill, let's say. And Muddy Jr. certainly with no shortage of that. And we saw him dominate with splat zones, especially with that Splatter Shot Jr., but he's showing his versatility here.
All right. And it seems like the next set will be
Rainmaker. The Rainmaker debut, in fact, here at Splatboro. We didn't have a Rainmaker set last time.
Really?
Yeah, interestingly enough. So we're going to see if ZL can, in fact, get their revenge.
This will be Rainmaker on Arowana Mall.
Interesting. A narrow map for Rainmaker. Not a whole lot of lanes towards the center of that map, but at the same time, it's when you get there, it's hard to keep.
And you know what they say about narrow maps?
Out.
Stingray is going to be pretty relevant on this map if one of the teams opts to put it on their team.
It's funny that you mention the Stingray, because we didn't see that in Tower Control. But at the same time, I feel like that's more consideration of the maps that were being played, because you're right, it wasn't Arowana Mall. It certainly wasn't Walleye Warehouse or Port Mackerel. It was Camp Triggerfish, a very spread out map.
Right.
Perhaps just taking into consideration the fact that maybe the Stingray isn't going to be quite as useful as you think it's going to be, so they employed everything else brilliantly. The Ink Jets were flying, the Ink Storms, as we saw, just pushing people back.
Yeah, and Ink Storm is really good at defending that tower too, and Bubbles as well. So it's good to see those specials. Maybe just none of the players have access to a weapon with the Stingray. Maybe they're not too well equipped to use something like a heavy splatling, a sloshing machine, or a splat charger.
What's impressive to me is just how well Boing was neutralized by both sides. I mean, obviously, it was Muddy getting the kills, but the team providing the support, and we will have to see if that same support will be provided here. Rainmaker at Arowana Mall. Oh, we got ourselves some coverage weapons
and we do
here.
have a Stingray weapon on the side of ZL.
A sploosh splash combo on the side of ZL as well, along with the Jet Squelcher, and I believe that's
a custom Jet Squelcher with the Stingray and the bomb. Burst Bomb.
And the Carbon Roller. I believe that's a Splash-O-Matic Neo as well.
Yes.
But on the side of...
you're already seeing that Stingray coming out and getting one pick.
Who else but Boing? But again, T-Turtle using that Jet Squelcher to its full advantage, and obviously a lot of vantage points for that Jet Squelcher to take advantage of. And again, that narrow passageway, not a whole lot of room to work with.
And they already got the 37, so this looked like a strong push. If they can
just
just jump from here, that's
2-1 on the field.
And
oh my goodness, Muddy Jr. Wow. I mean, we couldn't even, we barely had time to list off the weapons. Muddy Jr. doing that work, but again, it's that team, T-Turtle with that Jet Squelcher. It's those narrow passageways and those vantage points. He knew exactly how to utilize them, and of course, the ink coverage provided by Sumo Storm and Big Staz.
I didn't even realize Muddy was using the Splatter Shot Jr. that game.
Yeah, no, and again,
that's the first weapon in the.
It's the first weapon in the game, and he was dominating with it last time. But we saw that he was using it to its full effect, covering that turf, making sure that his team had exactly enough room to work with, and then he grabs that thing, and you saw it took it from 43 to 0 in no time flat.
Did we see an MZAP 85 this set at all?
We saw the 89.
We saw 89, but we're not 85. I'm surprised we saw out of the all the armor weapons, we saw a Splattershot Jr. over the NZAP 85.
It's interesting because NZAP 85 was such a dominant weapon so early on in the meta. You just had it was so quick to charge up, and of course the ink armor helping out your team with just that little extra layer of protection. It's a very good weapon, but also has been nerfed just slightly, but because of the nerfing of suction bombs. Yeah, it hurt the the Forge as well.
Both suction bombs as well as the NZAP's their special rate.
That's true, but I mean, with that comes nerfs to other things. We've seen the Clash Blaster take a lot of spaces on teams and just in online multiplayer. Just because it extends that range just a little bit, they extended the blast radius. So I got to ask you, do you expect to see anything of that sort? Any of the new patch meta?
The new patch meta? Well, let's see. New patch meta.
How do you see that playing out here specifically? Oh, at Snapper
Canal. You probably
Very
see a
wide
rapid
map.
deco. We seem to have someone disconnect on the side of ZL. So we're going to reset this lobby here.
Even in LAN, we have problems with disconnections. I tell you what. But folks, this is a good time to remind you. Thank you all for watching us here at twitch.tv/bros_calamity. I'm Stu, the announcer. Alongside Raptura, he is the captain of one of our teams here, Sweets Potatoes. I'm going to be playing you next round.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing. Go easy on me, please.
You're going to see my slosh machine at full force, so.
More patch meta, more like no aim meta. That's ridiculous. Okay, and the thing is that I'm inclined to agree with you at times, depending on how mad I am at the opposing Clash Blaster. But you're absolutely right. It's definitely a very coverage-based game, especially in Rainmaker. You need to have that room to work with, but also so important for your teammates to push ahead and pick off the bogeys, which is so hard to do on those narrow maps. But with Snapper Canal, maybe gives you a little bit more room with which to work.
Right, and with Snapper Canal, as you guys know, it's not as like mountainous as like Moray Towers.
Right.
But you still have that dip in the middle where the zone is and where the Rainmaker begins. So I
there's a
expect
bit
to
of
see
elevation to be traversed.
there's some elevation change, especially with the ramp. But I expect to see something like a Rapid Blaster deco, or like maybe Rapid Pro deco. We've seen that in the tower control game with Boeing using it. So if one of them can bring out an inkjet weapon that isn't T-Tech, this will be the map to do it.
I'd be
seems
inclined
like
to
they're
agree.
doing Camp Triggerfish and not Snapper Canal.
What I've interesting. Rainmaker at Camp Triggerfish.
I think that might be a mistake, but
I'm not exactly sure. We will have to confirm that. But just either way, Camp Triggerfish and Snapper Canal do have a lot of things in common. A couple of areas with which to access that center. I mean, but I'd say Camp Triggerfish a little bit more roundabout. That might change some strategies here.
and with Camp Triggerfish, you really want to push through their grates, through their bridge, pretty much on the right side. If you're looking from your spawn, that is definitely the best way to push. That's the strongest way. Just walking across those grates to get to the goal.
But obviously makes it just a little bit tougher because you can't just swim your way up. You have to walk that thing. And you have maybe potentially 3 or 4 people trying to hit you in the face with some ink on the way up, which again brings in the teamwork component here. So just between stick controls, just between ZL. I'm not really sure. We've seen ZL work together quite well, but just did not have it last game in Rainmaker. What do they need to do to get themselves together?
They need to, one, have a weapon with the Stingray. Stingray, again, is really good at stopping those Rainmaker pushes. If they can just stop the Rainmaker push and then try to wipe the enemy team, grab the Rainmaker themselves and make their own counter push, I think that'll be their best advantage, especially on a big map like Camp Triggerfish, where it's hard to get back into the point of action.
Grab yourself some stacks. It's time to make it rain here at Camp Triggerfish. A Tenatech Splatter Shot, a Jet Squelcher, Aerospray MG, and an NZAP 89 again with the NZAP.
We actually see a mini splat lane here.
Yeah, mini splat lane on Bravo team, and you're right, it is a mini splat lane, along with the Splatter Shot Pro, a Slosher, and a Sploosha-matic. Again with that Sploosha-matic, I'm not questioning the wisdom of that.
Sploosha-matic, I don't really have too strong opinions of it. I just don't think that it's too viable on a higher level. But I mean, here it's definitely putting in the work, putting in a lot of work in those close quarters combat situations.
Oh, this might be the end of this push right here. And there it is.
Goes down to Snorlax.
They did well to cover ink on that. The Slosher, I mean, pretty much taking away every single angle that he had to escape. And that Ink Storm is going to help with that push, but the Toxic Mist slowing him down just a little bit. 4-4 on the field. But just a minute in.
Yeah, Boeing grabbing the Rainmaker. Hopefully they push left and make this strong push that I was talking about before.
See, I'm not sure about that. I feel like you ink it, and the complete team wipe. 3-0 on the field. Sumo Storm is going to push this as far as he can.
Up. They're going to go through the rail and push through the grates.
Beautiful misdirection. T-Turtle clearing the way with that Jet Squelcher, but Boing meets him with the mini Splatling. That was clutch by Boing.
I thought he was going to fall off the map there. It seems as though there are enemies in the ink rail that he should turn around. Oh, no.
Not quite, but it is just now for... oh, wow. It's almost a complete team wipe. It is 4-1 on the field. That is it. Wow, the triple at the end. I think we saw one get splatted by the Rainmaker's barrier.
I know it was hard to see because of the spectator cam, but I think they all just jumped in from behind. I think there was one sharking.
But it was well scouted by stick controls. Muddy Jr. et al. I mean, 10 splats in that little bit of time. Boing, as we saw, trying to clear that way with that mini Splatling. It's a little bit more mobile. You can get a little bit of speed out of that thing along with the power that a Splatling provides. But again, Muddy Jr., 10 splats in just that short amount of time. What do you do about that?
It's ridiculous, especially on this this kind of map where if you die, it takes a long time to, or if you get splatted, it takes a long time to get back into that that point of action. Like I said, the map
it's definitely
is just way
a difficult
too big.
map to access at Camp Triggerfish.
Same with that Moray. Wahoo World isn't as bad, but
Wahoo World is different, I would say. But again, it does have for as wide as it is, it doesn't have as many access points to say the Splat Zone or to the Rainmaker. You really do have to work at it.
Right, and like for Wahoo World, you only have what we call the elbow and their steps from their spawn to access to get to the Rainmaker goal. I believe that is the end of the set, and we actually need to play our own set.
You're absolutely right. I don't know what to do about this, man. I have to shut up for once.
Yeah, and we have to play ourselves.
Absolutely. But, folks, in the interim, certainly invite you to check us out on social media. Hit us up on Twitter at @bros_calamity. Hit us up on Facebook at The Gaming Lab. Instagram, you see all the links right there. Go ahead and do that while you have the time. Open up a new tab. Keep this one open, but keep it tuned right here to twitch.tv/bros_calamity. We'll be right back.